with JT, just sort of your thoughts and emotions as the season comes to an end, and I'm sure there's a lot of disappointment about not being where you guys want to be as a group.
Yeah, obviously it's a long year for us and a very emotional one, a lot of different events happening, but I think for us it's kind of nice to take a step away from the game. We hate that we're not playing against the best teams in the league this time of year, but it's a process to get there, and we've made a lot of adjustments and strides as an organization lately to get to where we want to be. So yes, we want to be playing in the playoffs, but that's going to, it's a process, and we're going to stay along the path here. But I think right now it's nice to get away. This is nice to get away from the game and reflect and rest the body and really challenge ourselves to come in good shape and have a good camp, as a group.
How optimistic are you about the future in light of some of those changes that we've seen over the last couple of months here?
Well, it's one of the, it's definitely one of the reasons I want to come back. You can see there's change for good coming, and everything is going to, unfold here. And it's, like I said, I don't want to put a, here's what's going to happen. But we got to stay in the moment and worry about the process and try to, like I said, all we can do is take a couple weeks to reflect and then really start to push ourselves to come in and as a group challenge ourselves to be in a high level of fitness and challenge everybody for jobs come September.
JT, a couple from me. You guys had 3 coaches in the span of 15 months. And I know when Rick came here, the first thing he said was he sees a lot of himself in you. How does that help the dynamic in having a guy who was a dynamic power forward in the league understand who you are, what you can be, and where you can get to?
Oh, it's just very helpful for me to have somebody that understands what I go through on a day-to-day basis in a sense of physically and mentally. Rick has been awesome with working with me on a personal level. He keeps me very accountable, which is what I asked for day one. And, some days don't want to hear it, but I know when I go home, I sit down and have a beer. It's like, okay, like he's right. We got to be honest with ourselves. But I need a guy like that. It helps me. It helps me stay in my lane. It helps me worry about myself. And I think inevitably when I'm doing that is when I'm playing my best hockey. So him and Footer and, Gonch and Kinger, they've been great with working. Yosi, they've been all really good with working with me, on a personal level to try to get me playing the way I'm supposed to play.
You've been in just about every conceivable trade rumor over the years, and I know you're really good at blocking out the noise, JT, but is there a sense of satisfaction knowing that once you get to July 1st and your new deal kicks in and the no movement clause, is there some satisfaction in that, or do you think much about it?
I don't know. I was pretty satisfied with the 7-year deal, so I don't think I'm getting traded. I still don't think that, so it's not a big worry for me, no.
Elias, your thoughts? You had a very good year on a team that had a lot of struggles. How do you balance what you did personally with what happened with the team around you?
Yeah, of course, I'm super happy the way I've been taking steps this year and obviously scoring a lot of points, but super happy the way I've been growing as a player, been better two-way, and obviously as a team we want to continue playing now. But I think JT said it real well. Will be good for us to step away now for a little bit, reflect, relax, and get back to training again and prepare for September.
Maybe follow up a little bit what JT said. Are you confident in the direction the team is going? I know that's out of your control, but do you see positives moving forward to next year?
Yeah, I do. I think there was a lot of new faces this year, but now we played a season and get to know everyone a little more. So yeah, I like the direction. Well, and this guy too. So yeah, I'm excited for future.
Petey, how will you go through your process and timeline for making a decision on an extension? Obviously, you're eligible this summer, and I know the club certainly wants to do that. Or are you wanting to do that this summer, or might you want to wait? Just take us through your process there.
I haven't thought too much about it, to be honest. I like to live in the moment and just take it day by day. But I don't know. Well, I like it here, and so but we'll take that in the future, in the summer.
Brock, certainly it's been reported that your agent had the opportunity to go out and seek a trade, and that maybe you thought a just a change might be a good thing for you, but you've clearly shown how much you like these guys, and how you guys have all been there for each other when you went through some tough times. As you go into the summer, do you still think maybe a change would be good, or are you reevaluating that at all?
To be completely honest with you, I don't want to be traded. I've expressed to you guys how much I love it here. Obviously it was a tough year personally on some, with my game and stuff earlier in the season, but I think it was kind of a blessing in disguise that I didn't get traded. I really thought I started to find my game, towards the, after that trade deadline and, the last bit of the season there. And, talk's been great, the whole coaching staff's been great, and, like these guys said, the direction is, everyone knows the direction that we're going, and, setting the standard and becoming better, and, I want to be a part of that, so, I'm going to express that.
JT, just, you've nodded at it before, I think, but with the uncertainty that was swirling around Bruce the first half of the year, just how difficult was that for you as a player, for your teammates, you think?
It kind of sucks to just, to see somebody have to go through that. I'm not going to comment on how everything was handled or all that. Like, it's just as your coach and as your, we've talked ad nauseum about how good of a person Bruce was. So, I mean, it's kind of hard to, he wore his heart on his sleeve, and I thought maybe that was good and bad at times to let everybody see how he's feeling. But, you definitely feel, we're humans at the end of the day playing hockey. It's not the other way around. And, it's, you just feel for somebody who has to go through publicly, I guess, like that. But as, we always have each other's back, as a team, and that's part of the deal. And, guys get coming in and coming out. We know that's part of the game and one of the crappy parts about it. But at the end of the day, it's, we're moved on, and we're really happy with the new direction. And like the question you asked, I think we're all confident with where we're going. It's just going to be a process, and we can't skip steps to get there.
Petey, two questions for you. How reflective are you on a season like you just had? Like, can you just kind of give us your process of how you review a year when it's done, and what do you try to take out of it moving forward?
I'm always trying to understand and look what I can do better. I'm all about trying to get better every day. But I mean, taken away from this season, again, I'm super happy the way I played and taking steps, bounced back from last year to the start I had there. So I just wanted to come out and play, be me the whole way, and I think I've done a pretty good job.
You showed that you can put up huge numbers without a lot of power play goals. I'm just curious, what do you make of 6 power play goals? And if you hadn't hit crossbars and posts, like maybe I'm not even asking this question, but like, is there more within the structure of the group that you can do or want to do on the power play?
Well, I think we can always look on things like how we can do better, how to get my shot off more. But usually teams have been playing me hard, so usually my teammates get more ice to work with. So if they want to play like that, it's just like come up with solutions, and I think we can do better, but I think we did a pretty good job this year.
A couple for you, Elias. This time last year, a lot of people were optimistic as well because of how the season had finished, and then, it didn't go so well at the start of this year. Do you feel this is different, what the team is transforming into? Do you feel like there's a better chance of sustainability now with this system than there had been before it?
Yes, I think so. I think when Talk and his group came in, I think we started playing more as a structured team, and I think it showed. We won more than we lost, and we were playing more structure. We weren't having as many defensive breakdowns, and so yeah.
When you do get around to talking about your contract with the team, I mean, not us, how important will it be to you, the idea that you can win here, and do you think that's possible here?
I definitely think it's possible here, and all I care about is I want to win. These guys just want to win, and to get there, it's not going to be an easy process. But I think we're all are up for the challenge and are ready to do the hard work to get there, because winning is fun.
Philip, a couple for you. Just your thoughts on what your experience was like since arriving in Vancouver. Obviously, I'm sure you're disappointed you didn't get a chance to play more, but how was it coming to the Canucks?
Oh, it was great. I'm really excited to be here. Exciting group of the guys. Everyone been really nice to me, so it make it way easier for me.
How about in terms of your injury? Where do you feel you're at right now? Are you optimistic you'll have a good summer of training and be good to go heading into camp?
I'll be good.
You mentioned lessons from last summer, like having this finish, like what lessons were learned from last summer that you would bring heading into this year for any of you? Were there lessons learned about coming off a really good finish and not being able to sustain it, that you might do anything differently? Including, do you need a more settled training camp? You guys were all over the place, UBC, like, does that matter as well? Having a home base coming into next season. What kind of things, factors that start, you might change, that could be great?
Well, I just think that it's way different this time. You know, the plan is more clear. You know, the people we have here in place is, you know, it's different. Like it's, it seemed like last year we were just kind of seeing what happened this year a little bit, and now we know 100% what to expect out of ourselves and as a group. And you know, if we're not meeting our expectations, like that's going to be unacceptable when it comes to creating a standard. You know, we have a little bit of a foundation that we built over the last couple months, and you know, we expect to grow on that. And you know, we have complete faith in the staff and the group of guys, and I'm sure there's going to be more changes. We don't know though. And when it comes to camp, I mean, it's kind of hard to say what's the right answer, especially whenever the season doesn't go the way you want. But I guess we'll get to that when the time comes.
Elias, I guess there's been a lot of talk of this being like an extended training camp. What were some of the things with Rick Tocchet that you were able to do that were kind of like a training camp to kind of build for next season?
I think it's like since you come in, trying to find our identity, like do the things the right way, about working hard, the things he holds us accountable to always work hard and to play within structure, et cetera, and I think we took steps in that since he came in, and I think it showed most of the games too.
And Philip, for you, when you get traded during the season compared to the off season, you kind of get a summer now, knowing what to expect from the Canucks. What was a good thing about getting here a little bit early and now knowing what they want from you in the summer?
Get to know all the guys for sure, and that's about it.
JT, I have one last one for you. A leopard doesn't change his spots. I mean, the way you play, your driven ability to play, brings out a lot of emotion and times a lot of frustration. Where did you and Tocchet kind of find the middle ground on what is acceptable and what is not acceptable in terms of showing raw emotion in a game?
Well, I mean, I know what's unacceptable. You know, it's easier to sit up here and say it's unacceptable now than, you know, when you've lost 6 in a row and you turn the puck over again, or, you know what I mean? That's the hard part. But I think a lot of my frustration earlier in the season was coming from me, like I've said, like of getting out of my lane and not really, you know, I was trying to do everybody else's job but mine. And I think that when you see a lot of turmoil and a lot of other, like, it wasn't just my hockey that I was, you know what I mean? It was a lot of things creating a lot of bad habits in my head, and, you know, and work ethic things. And it wasn't, you know, it was just a lot of things I was worried about. You know, looking back, I think what I've learned is the only thing I've done differently when Rick's here is worry about myself and worry about my game, and knowing that if I do that, everything else will just fall into place. So, I mean, he's been great with helping me recognize that, but I think just, I definitely have a lot more trust and faith in the process now than I did in the beginning of the season, and that's probably, at the end of the day, it's probably as simple as that.
For both JT and PD, I think JT, at one point this season, you said that you and PD, have had to work on your relationship. Can you describe your relationship now and how it's grown, especially during the second half of the season? Each of you?
That's great.
Did you feel it needed work?
Sorry?
Did you feel it needed work?
No, do you?
Well, no, I'm just going off a comment that was made by JT earlier in the year, right? So
No, it's
What did I
good.
say?
it was something to the effect of that you've needed to work on your relationship.
Yeah, well, I just think that, like I said, we're not very alike in a sense of personality and hobby, and so that's not naturally going to gravitate towards each other. But I think over time, I think we have become friends, and our relationship's getting better. And there's a lot of situations where we're on the ice together now, and it's fun. It's also a challenge for us because it's like meeting somebody random on the street and just saying, hey, go be friends with that guy that's nothing like you. I mean, we're not a lot alike, but we're both very competitive at our job and motivated to win. So, I mean, there are things that bring us together, too.
2 more, please. That's it.
For Elias, you've seen, Bo Horvat be a captain here. Henrik Sedin, he's in the organization as well. In your eyes, we don't know what's going to happen, but what makes a good NHL captain?
I think it comes down to being a good leader, keeping the group accountable at times when it needs to, and it's different leaders from being more vocal, showing it on the ice as a good example, or stepping up for a teammate, or I think everybody's ready to step up for a teammate, so you don't have to be a captain for that, but I think it's a different way of being a captain, and yeah.
JT, I'm curious. You mentioned the satisfaction you felt after signing your deal, and you talked about the pressure you put on yourself and sort of described the struggles in the first half of the year almost like it was a cyclical thing, right? Like, is there a sense when you sign a deal like that of maybe trying to do too much to live up to it? Is that part of when you reflect on how this season went, what was behind your slow start or perhaps a driver of it?
I think I actually, if I'm being honest with you, I didn't put a lot of pressure on myself to perform. I mean, I didn't look at myself any differently because after I signed the contract as I did before. So that didn't change for me. Like I said, I think there was just a lot of events going on this season around our team that made it a very, very much a distraction. And I take a lot of pride in being able to fix problems, that were kind of out of my control. And I let all that frustration bother me, and it created, like I said, I've mentioned it so many times, like bad habits and stuff that I'm not, moments on the ice that I'm not proud of for sure. But I think it was such a unique situation, and I hope I never get back there to where that was. But I hope our organization doesn't go through what it went through this year as well. I mean, there was a lot of distractions, so it's nice I think everybody feels like a little weight's off their shoulders or off their chest after moving on. It feels like a fresh start.